Hello, little buddy. What's up? Hmm? Where's Lucky? Look at this. I put caladiums in these, and it was some of the seeds that was in the little grow pots that were in the shed that never would come up. And look at the seeds now. I got tomato plants coming up. So there was seeds still good in that dirt. So yeah, I jumped the gun on that. And there's Lucky. There's Lucky. But I got potato vines in here, and I got caladiums in there too, but I think it's been too cold for them caladiums to come up. Look at my fur babies. Yeah, it's not mealtime again. I already give you food twice this morning. And I don't know if you cleaned the bowls out or whether that stray cat come up here and cleaned them out for you, but the food's gone. Look at this. I got twins. Isn't that sweet? They're not fighting as much anymore. Once in a while I have to get on little buddy because he'll want to swat at him, but, swat at Lucky, but not very often. Yeah, I'm talking about you, little buddy. Lucky got a stretch. Well, let's get on with our little garden tour. These bulbs come up and they're looking really good. I had the red ones and the white ones in there. Kind of wish I'd have put them out in the rock garden. But they're here, so they're good. And my flowers that was here tried to come up 3 times, and it froze after they come up each time. And I don't know, this time they may not come up. So I don't know. I'm going to wait and see. But look at this at my clematis. Isn't that pretty? Pretty clematis. Listen to the birds. Yeah, the purple one died on this side, and I planted red, purple, and every color over on the other side. But that evergreen bush is taken over. And look how tall it's gotten, even though I've cut it back several times. So I'm just going to leave it there. I'll get something else to grow along with it, I guess. But I put one of my aloe veras here that I kept in the house through the winter. It's still looking good. Gotten pretty big. And here's my rock garden here. And it is full of daffodils and my Easter. I call the purple ones my Easter flowers because they usually bloom about the 1st of April. First part of April, they start blooming. And I think they're just as pretty as anything. And I put seeds out many years ago for those. And they're spread all over the yard. But these haven't bloomed yet. If they have, I didn't notice it. And I planted some Indian paint flowers there. They're kind of drooped over. I need to water them. And some marigolds up here with this daylily. So we'll see what happens with them. My mums are looking good. My white rose bush is fixing to bloom. It's got a bud right there. I need to put some more banana tea on it. The banana does better for the rose bushes than anything. Look at little buddy. Yeah, I know you're going to follow me. And there's Lucky sitting back up there on the porch. I'll try not to move this camera so much. But there's my knockout roses. I need to trim it back a little bit. It's getting kind of leggy. I don't want that in there. But see, all of those that I planted are coming up. Won't be long before they'll have blooms on them. And there's one way over there. Look how it's like a foot tall already. And there's one beside it, but it's just barely come up out of the ground. But my daylilies are coming up real good. Got gladiolas come up. But it's early yet. Yeah, it's early yet, Lucky. You gonna go walking around with me? You and little buddy? It's chilly out here today. My legs are cold. I got my shorts on. We went running up on the patio. But I got volunteer tomato plants coming up here from the compost. Look at that. Those are volunteers, so I have no idea what they are. And I did plant a jalapeno in there, some seeds. But that is volunteer tomato plants, y'all. I'll have to wait till they produce tomatoes to see what kind they are. I haven't decided what I'm going to put in that tote yet. Or that one over there. I had potatoes in it last year, but I'm not putting potatoes in there this year. But look at my hosta. If I can keep all the tree stuff off of it, it'd be beautiful. But there's 2 in there. I think 2 or 3. 2 of them. And they survive through the winter. And they're going to look good this summer. Ain't that right, Lucky? Huh? Look at there. I've got tomatoes there, and they're already blooming. Look. I got a tomato there. And I planted seeds in here in these buckets. The seeds haven't come up yet. I just did that last week. And I do have a rosemary in there. Because I'm kind of wondering, my rosemary right there, it came up 2 or 3 times and then it froze after it come up each time and it died back down. So now I'm waiting to see if it's going to come back again. And I haven't got anything planted in these pots or totes yet because of all of the plants I'm waiting on to transplant. Those dish pans haven't been planted yet. Because I'm going to have so many tomato plants and I got to put something out for those ants. Look at that. You know when your dirt is turned up like that in your pot, you got ants in it. So I'll have to go in the shed and get some spray and stuff and start spraying. And there is my parsley. And my clematis always does fantastic here. Look how thick it is up there. And this is the lavender and the purple one. See the one right there? It's lavender. And all of these up here are lavender. And the one way up there is purple, but I can't get to it. But it's purple. Just look at all these blooms fixing to open right there. There's blooms everywhere. And my raspberry bush is looking great. I just hope it will produce some raspberries this summer. But look how nice it looks. Got a red bell pepper right there. I mean, my raspberry bush is even putting out new shoots. Look. A new one coming up from the pot. I got volunteer sunflowers. Look at this. Even more of them. I got 2 in this pot, and I know I don't want to leave them in that pot. I don't know what I'm going to do with them or where I'm going to put them. I got one in the ground over there. I'll leave it in the ground, but I don't think I want to leave it in that pot right there. Not 2 of them. It'll turn them over. And I took all my miniature greenhouses off of my cabbages. Look at there. I got volunteer marigolds coming up. But the cabbages are looking pretty good. My walking onions. I think that's one of the most recent pot of walking onions that I planted. I got a zucchini growing there. Peppermint. I got Anise hispus, which is a herb. I got seeds in that pot, waiting for it to come up. I got parsley there come up, and I did that from seed. And I don't know, that looks like a pepper plant come up there, but I put Early Girl hybrid tomato plant there. So I don't know what I'm going to end up with in this pot. And there's my 2 buckets of Egyptian walking onions. My big dill cucumbers. They're looking pretty good. I've got like 3 or 4 plants come up. We'll see which one survives. My walking onions. I got assorted peppers in there, and it's all hot. Look at there, they're starting to come up already. That's where I just put the whole pepper. I had a bunch of them in a jar, all hot peppers from last year, and I think that was one of the jars I had in vinegar. And I just dumped them in these 3 totes, the whole pepper. And they're starting to come up. Right, there's one. That straight long leaf, that's a pepper. That is a pepper plant. And there's little buddy. Hey, little buddy. See, I want to move a bunch of the wood chips all back here where these rocks are. I can't dig these boulders up. So what I'm going to do is the same thing I started doing last year where the potatoes are planted. I had put wood chips all down through here. And that's what I want to do over here too. And what it'll do is level it out. And at least that way when the wood chips break down, the ground will be level back here and it'll be easier to mow with the mower. Yeah, if I can ever get around to it. I've got plenty of wood chips. It's just getting the time and the body to do it. And there's my scallop white bush squash. I'm anxious on seeing what they'll do over here. And I got a jalapeno there to keep bugs away. And I got eggplant. Look at this. Eggplant, y'all, from seed. I can take these off. I don't think anything will bother them. Look at that. I don't know. I might leave them just till after this weather's over. I'll come back and get them later. But looky here. Asparagus, y'all. Look at my shoots of asparagus. Got another one coming up. There's a couple of them right there. One right there. And this tomato has got blooms. I don't remember what it is. Beefsteak tomato. That should be a bigger tomato. And I got peppers coming up there. And I planted the peppers there just to keep the bugs away. And I got a black cherry tomato back there. And it did come up from seed, y'all. I got jalapenos here coming up. I planted some over there, but I don't see them coming up yet. And there's my dahlia. I haven't got these pots planted yet. I did put jalapeno seed in that little square one. So I'm just trying to give y'all an update on what the garden's doing. Look at there. Lucky. And there's little Buddy. I'll show you what my taters are doing. I healed them up. I put more dirt in there. And look how much they've grown since I put more dirt in. I'm about ready to have to put more dirt in there. And then I can unfold the bag, and that'll add another 2 inches of height. But yeah, this rain is not really raining. We've just got a little bit of rain, but the cooler temperatures have done wonders for my potatoes. Look how big this one is. They're looking good. But I will have to put more dirt in there because they've grown, I'm telling you, 4 or 5 inches since I put the dirt in. And see how I put my wood chips back here last year or year before? I need to add more. I need to come all the way down through here and add more. You know, I'll just go back as far as the property line. I'm not going back in the easement. But, yeah, it makes a world of difference when you come back here with a mower to mow. If it's level, you don't have to go around rocks and stuff. Ain't that right, Lucky? Huh? Yeah? You gonna talk to me? Huh? You gonna talk to me? Huh? Yeah? You a sweet baby. Yeah, and I got my, looks like I got volunteer plants coming up there with my zucchini. My tomato back there. I got a pepper, a hot pepper, and a zucchini here. I got a tomato there. I was trying to, Golden Jubilee is what that is. So it'll get kind of tall. That's the reason I put it here with these things. And I can keep it broke down. And my peas are finally coming up here. I got a zucchini or a squash, a zucchini right there. My corn's coming up. I got a pepper on that one pot right there in the middle. But yeah, and I got marigolds coming up there, volunteer marigolds. So that'll help keep some of the ants away. My corn, look at that. Not every bit of the corn's coming up, but what's coming up is looking good. Got looks like 2 corn here. 3, no 2. And the peas are already latching on to them. Ain't that right, little buddy, huh? They follow me all over the garden. And I got a sunflower in there, look at that, with the peas. I don't know if I should leave it or not because I might have to tie the sunflower to the corn stalk. I finally started seeing some of my coleus come up. I was about to give up on it. Look at that. My lettuce is not doing as good as I thought it would do out here. Kohlrabi, some of it's looking okay. Cilantro. No, I didn't know he even climbed up there like that. That might be what's wrong with my coleus right there. I bet he's been laying in there. If he's been laying in my pot, it'll kill the plants. And that's dragon stir fry mixed right there. And look at all these volunteer tomato plants, y'all. I took my son 2 of them that were big enough, and look how much they've grown since then, since last week. My big deal cucumber, my carrots, and there's another hill of the volunteer tomato plants. Look how many tomato plants are in there. I need to pull them out and start moving them. But look at that. I saw one big not cucumber, but I thought I saw one big one in there. I can't find it now. I had a carrot that the top of it was starting to show through, but I can't even find it now. And there goes my yellow squash. I got 2 of them come up in there. Look at this. Look at this. He said, I'm just hanging out in the garden. Just hanging out in the garden. And so far, I've got 2. Got a spider web. 2 Casper eggplants come up. And I planted a whole row of them. I don't know how come the other ones haven't come up yet. Maybe they still will. But I can't wait for them to grow and produce some white eggplant. I haven't planted really anything in that. I put cilantro in there at one time, but it didn't do anything. Got tomato plants in there, and that's the Golden Jubilee ones. Replaced my tree collard. And see, my one tree collard right here has survived. And I put a tomato plant in there with it. Look at the volunteer tomato plants right there. I can't have 10 tomato plants in one little pot. And I got yellow squash coming up here. And I got a tomato plant right back there full of blooms. I thought it was going to get taller than that. Well, it says it's a bush. I probably don't need this tower in there. Got a tomato plant here. I haven't planted anything here yet. I've got jalapeno seed put in that little pot. But I do have tomato plants put in these bags. Remember, I took just regular potting soil bag and I turned them into grow bags. And I got a tomato there. I got one here. Look how pretty that looks. Now that's a different type of tomato. These are indeterminate ones here. They're going to grow up 10 foot tall if I let them. And this one's not going to get that big. It's a shorter version of a tomato. I think it's an early girl. Celebrity tomato. But they say indeterminate. But all of these that I bought that were on sale are little bitty bush tomatoes. They're not getting very tall. And look at there. It's fixing to put out tomatoes. And I got a Jubilee right back there. And that one's one that's going to get tall. And I got a Hungarian hot pepper. 2 of them that came up voluntarily from seed from last year because I had them in that pot. I don't remember what kind of tomato this is. Celebrity. But I got it in this cage because I was afraid the tomatoes were going to get real tall. and they needed something to grow up on. So, and I got Jubilees in here, right along with a bunch of grass that I need to get out. Don't want this grass in there. Well, I'll come back later and get that. But I got a zucchini here, my pepper or mint, and look at all of those Roma tomato plants coming up. That's just from Roma tomato seed. So I'm going to have a bunch of tomatoes. My onions. I don't need that thing in there. My onions there. I forget which ones are which. I think these are either white onions or red onions. I'm not sure. Because I ran out of spaces to plant them. I don't think they're Egyptian walking onions. I've got hot pepper and bell pepper planted here from seed. And I don't need that vine in there. And that's a piece of grass. And this is a butternut squash. And that was supposed to be jalapeno, but it's that ground cover moss that's come up. And it has pretty flowers on it. And I had a small piece of it in there last year. And it dropped seeds and it spread like crazy. I got early dew melon in that middle one. It hasn't come up yet. I got hot pepper and bell pepper here. Roma tomato seed there. Look at there. And Roma tomatoes there. And I'm going to have to be pulling them out and moving them somewhere. My okra has just started to come up. That's the okra right there. There's one over there. And there's one there. There's a couple back there. We need to get some really good rain. I got a wild sunflower coming up there. I don't want it there. With my Egyptian walking onions. And see, my tree collards here survived the winter. All 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All 5 of my tree collards here survived. I mean, some of them don't look too good, but, you know, they're coming back to life. And I've got a perpetual spinach in the end, and it always looks dead, and then all of a sudden it starts coming back to life. I got clematis, sunflowers, blanket flowers in there, and the same on the other side. And I got volunteer sunflowers there. I don't really think I want to leave them there. I'm not sure where I'm going to put them, though. I thought it was going to rain more than what it has. If it has, I could have moved them to the property line over there. But the ground is not really wet enough to move them. Unless I water them down good. Onions there. That's Egyptian walking onions. But see, I've got to get that mulch over here, the wood chips, and get it down because a lot of this is breaking apart. And I got flowers and weeds growing. This is full of buds. It's going to have tomatoes on it pretty soon. And that's a bush early girl. My collards. And my tomato plant there. I can't see what that is. That's a cherry. A red cherry tomato. I don't know if it's a big one or a small one. Pepper plant. That's my tree collard that came back to life. That one looks like it's died. That one started growing. And this one, maybe. I mean, it's trying to grow. We'll see. So I may have 3 of those 4 tree collards left this year. And my holy basil there hasn't come up yet. I don't know how long it takes it to come up. And I don't know, y'all. I put banana tree fertilizer to my banana sprout, and it's just kind of withered away. I don't know if the heat did it or what. I don't know if it'll come back or not. So we'll see. Onions. I got red onions. I got white onions. I got Egyptian onions. I think these are the red ones. Yeah. Egyptian onions. And I think those are the red onions there. This is my butterfly. Yeah, butterfly peas. They're supposed to be really pretty flowers on them. I've never planted them before. My strawberries. Look at there. And they were basically like bare root. But they're starting to grow, y'all. And it looks like I got either volunteer tomato plants or pepper plants coming up in here. And I do have marigolds to help keep the bugs away. I put onions there to keep the bugs away, keep it away from my celery. I got purple bell peppers coming up here. Those little narrow leaf things are the purple bell pepper with marigolds. And I don't know, I've got two things coming up here, and I don't know if either one of them is the lavender, because I've never grown lavender before. But I sprinkle lavender seed all through there. And those two things are the only thing that's growing in there so far, and I don't even know what they are. So I've left them. My yellow squash, and I'm going to have to take this net off of it pretty soon, so they can let the pollinators get to them. This is my yellow squash. My zucchini. And it looks like I got pepper plant or tomato plants voluntarily coming up in there, and I got a marigold came up in there. And look at this one. I got to get this off of here. I got to get the net off because it's about to grow out of the net. It hasn't started putting flowers out yet, but I'll need to uncover it before it does. My turnips, my red beets, my yellow beets. And I had to pull a couple of sunflowers out of there. I even had sunflowers growing in my beets. My cucumbers. I got cucumbers, marigolds, Pablino pepper planted there, but it's not come up yet. And I've got holy basil there, and I think that might be yeah, tongue-tied. That might be the holy basil coming up right there. Ain't that right, Lucky, huh? Ain't that right, Lucky? Hmm? You're tickling my legs. You keep walking through my legs. Yeah, you do. You keep walking through my legs. And yeah, my corn is kind of lacking here. I planted corn in here for my peas to climb up. And I've got corn coming up, but it's coming up a lot slower than my peas. So I don't know, I may have to put some stakes to my beans. Anyway, I've got this frame up here, so if I need to drop cord or anything to it for the beans to climb up, I've got it there. Because the corn isn't just taking its ever-loving time. And I did plant marigolds in there to help keep the ants away. And I did put a banana pepper in there too, I think, but I don't know if it's come up yet or not. And I planted these bush beans over here with my strawberries because they said it was real good to plant them together. It adds something to the soil that's good for the strawberries. But I don't know, they might overcrowd my strawberries. Because there's my strawberry right there. I got one there. There. Got one up there in the corner. One over there that looks real good. That looks real good. So far, it looks like all of my strawberry plants that I bought and planted are going to survive. I think I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's pea plant there, I think. Beans. Yeah, I may have done the wrong thing by planting all those peas in there, but they say, I did some research on it, and it said that a companion plant for strawberries were these beans. Because it adds, I forgot what, to the soil that the strawberries need. But we need to get more rain. I mean, there's not even enough rain that we got overnight and today to even wet the ground, really. Look at that. He's a garden kitty. Yeah, he's a garden kitty. But I wanted to show you what I was out here doing yesterday. Off and on all day because it would get a little hot. And I would rest. But see, I've got this whole corner. I stopped right there because I run out of cardboard. I've got some ground cover, ground cloth, weed barrier cloth, but I'd rather use sheets of cardboard if I could get it, but I've used all my cardboard. I finished up this corner right here that Lucky's laying in yesterday. And I had to stop because it got dark. Plus, I ran out of cardboard. And the idea is, so when my watermelons start running, they can run over my wood chips and not on the ground in the dirt. I know there's not very much room for them, but that's pumpkin right there. Pumpkin pie. The little pumpkins, I've got the little green watermelons. I got black diamond. Watermelon finally come up right there. This jalapeno's just coming up. I forgot what this is back here. Oh, that's the Charleston Gray. That was the whiter looking watermelon from last year. And this one is the small round one, the dark green one. But yeah, this is what I was doing yesterday. I was too tired to go live last night, so I didn't go. But that's what I was doing, y'all. At least now it's halfway even level. And I don't have to mow back here any for a while. I mean, eventually as the wood chips break down, you know, you'll end up with grass growing back here. But it'll be a while before that happens. And I've still got all of the back section to do. Yeah, I wished I had not put that banana fertilizer to my banana tree yet. Because it did start to come back up. But I think it was getting too hot for it or something. It didn't like it. But there's my mums in my pot from last year on the property line. And I do have a sunflower in there. There's one of the sunflowers I planted this week. It's standing up. I need to put rocks around it to mark it so I don't mow them. There's another one that I put out here. It finally did stand up, so I guess it'll make it. Those are standing up, so they'll grow. I got a sunflower there. See, I mean, if they get plenty of water and nutrients from the soil, they grow like crazy. It's right there with my mums. My moonflowers are coming up. Right in the middle of the screen is a whole clump of sunflowers that I put out. And I surrounded that stump with sunflowers just to kind of hide the stump for a bit. I mean, eventually these blanket flowers, the moonflowers, and everything else will grow big enough that you're not going to be able to see that stump. But I figured it'd be neat to have the sunflowers in the center, because they'll be the tallest. Ain't that right, Lucky, huh? Yeah. And I got sunflowers right there that they look like they're going to live. Yeah. Yeah. Where are you going? He loves attention. And there's my rose bush. Look, it's come back to life. Look at all the new growth on it, and it's got buds. It's getting ready to bloom. Look at there. It's a bud there, one up there, two up there. And there's another sunflower, or two of them, I put there. I just made a hole and stuck it in there and put a little bit of water to it and forgot about them. I said this cooler temperature should help. If we get some decent rain, that would help too. I mean, look at this sunflower. It's hogging this pot, and I think this is a 4 o'clock. It came up from a seed that was dropped in here from last year. And I think that's a pepper plant right there. But I'll let them grow. The rose bush I had in that pot died. It didn't make it. But the rose bush there made it. Look at there. It's getting buds on it. And I got a sunflower there. Sunflowers are growing here with my mom. And I'll probably stick a pepper plant or two in there too before it's over with. I tried to plant a sunflower there, but I hit a rock. I got sunflowers in Mom's there. And look at my bluebonnets, y'all. Aren't those pretty? I planted bluebonnet seeds several years ago. And I planted them in the rock garden, and the wind blew the seeds everywhere but where they're supposed to come up. They never will come up where you plant the seed. I'm going to step on you, little buddy. I mean, Lucky. There's a hill of bluebonnets right there. The leaves on the plant is unmistakable to a bluebonnet. There's one right there. They will come up where they want to come up, not where you want to plant them. And there's some there. I'm so glad that when they put the wood chips down, they didn't come so far over that it covered these up, because they'll spread. But look at all these wood chips, y'all. Taller than my head. But I'll get it done. I mean, I'm not going to do it in a day or 2 days. I'm not in a hurry, because I don't have to dig the grass up when I move the chips. I'll just lay down cardboard or weed barrier of some kind. And see, the perpetual spinach hat comes back. And there's some right there that'll be coming back. I planted jalapeno here just to keep the ants away from the wishing well. But there's the moonflowers right there. I don't see too many of them come back up except for on this side, because, yeah, there's some over here. This was where the hostas was, but those are moonflowers right there. That in the middle. And the rest of these is Indian blanket flowers. All of this other greenery, it's Indian blanket flowers. And look at these two. That's a big mama right there. And there's the big daddy. Big daddy and the big mama. And see, there's the clump of sunflowers I put out there. I think that'll be pretty when they all start growing. If we just get some rain. Instead of these little trickles that we've been getting. And I had a sunflower here last year and it dropped seeds. And now it's full of sunflower seed. And I guess my perpetual spinach is not coming back up. Probably just have to plant more. I'll leave it in there for mulch. But I got mint right there. And I don't remember the name of this, but it's tried to come up 2 or 3 times. And the same way with the banana plant and my hostas, my other, I can't think, hollyhocks. They came up and then it froze again on them. But I do have a marigold, this ground cover. This is all ground cover that I planted in these pots last year and it's come back up. But it does real good out in the hot sun in Texas. So I decided to leave it there. I got my crepe myrtle right there. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crepe myrtles that survived. And my Easter lilies or my irises haven't bloomed yet. I said Easter lily because they usually bloom about Easter time. I got a sunflower there. I've got tomato plants growing. One of them's a volunteer. That one right there is a volunteer. But I'm giving my perpetual spinach time to kind of come back to life. My peppermint right there in that big pot. And see, here's some of the flowers that are all over the yard. And I threw seeds out one year. I finally saw a hummingbird again. I guess it's the same one that stayed the whole winter here. But I got to do something with those sunflowers and get them out of that pot. There's just too many in there. But there's my orange bell pepper. All coming up from the seed I got out of the pepper. And there's the red bell pepper back there. And here is the Roma tomatoes. That is plants coming up from the seed. There's one. And I got eggplant planted there. It needs to be watered. Eggplant there in that other little pot. My aloe vera. Perpetual spinach. And my cactus is still there. I don't know if it's going to root or not. It looks like it's trying to rot. I planted marigolds here. I put marigolds in here. Because I don't know, my mum come up several times. And then it froze again on it. And it died back. So I don't know if it's going to come back or not. But I got blanket flowers all in here. I got sunflowers. You know, they got pretty big last year in here. My roses. My Easter flowers over there. Isn't that pretty? Got another crepe myrtle right there. It's one that has the dark leaves on it, and I can't remember the name of it. It doesn't have the green looking leaves like some of them do. But I've got my sunflowers. Sunflower. Yeah, most of the sunflowers that I transplanted look like they're going to make it. Little buddy's kicking my tripod, y'all. But they're living out here too. That's a sunflower. There's some. And here's one. Little buddy said, well, I'll just come over here and curl up and be by myself. He kicked my tripod, or he bumped the tripod a while ago. That's what made the camera move like it did. He's a silly cat. They both are. See, I walk, he walks. I walk and he walks. But aren't those pretty? Beautiful flowers. Well, y'all, we'll see you on the next one. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos. Bless y'all.